What's up, y'all? Welcome to Keeping It Real with Millie Mill, our next episode. Today, I'm going to be talking about a subject that has been in the media that I have some issues with and some comments about. A lot of people have been talking about it, but it's the whole Marvin Sapp of it all and the closing the doors for the tithes and offering debacle, and him stating that they need to have $40,000 by the end of the day. First of all, I'm keeping it real with Millie Mill. I've been keeping it light. I haven't gotten too deep with you guys, but today I'm going to get a little bit more deeper. He was all the way wrong. I'm going to say that. There's nothing in the scripture that I read that confirms his actions were of God and from God and by God. And trust me, I researched again before I even made this video. So let me kind of give you explanations what the reasons for tithes and offerings are for. First of all, it was commanded by God. God wanted you to give tithes, or 10% of your increase. Offering was a special gift to him that you would give in the Old Testament that was strictly for him. Now, when the churches started, the tithing was for the benefit, one, yes, of the pastor, because a lot of times the ministers were living in the church, they were at the church, and that would keep them able to eat food and have resources, water, whatever, they needed. It's also to keep the church running and going. It's also to help with people who may need assistance that come to the church, because a lot of people say, oh, I went to the church and they didn't give me anything, which I think if we are able to give it as a church, then we should be able to give it. But mainly the tithes and offering are for the church to be able to function. Like nowadays, you have lights, gas, mortgage, rent, whatever you have to pay for the church. You have your different type of necessities that are needed for the church. And yes, some pastors do get a percentage of that. My issue is when the pastor is using that to elevate himself and not elevate, number one, God. Number two, elevate the church. Number three, help the people in your church that need help, but you rather drive a Bentley and live in a 20,000 square foot home instead of using that money with which it was designed for. When it comes to tithes and offering, that is a personal relationship that you have to deal with God. God has ordained that, yes, but furthermore, that's something that you and God have to deal with. If God places on your heart to give X amount of money, even if you don't have the money for your tithes, because everybody can't afford 10%, especially nowadays. That could be a lot of money for a family, whatever. God understands that. But whatever he places on your heart to give, you give it freely, you give it unto him, and it's going for the right purpose that you're giving the money for. Also, if you don't have money, your tithes and your offering could just be your time. That's your increase. You can give time to other people who may need counseling in church. You can help clean the church. You can help go out there and evangelize. These things are all free if you don't have the money to give to the church. So for someone to be in that position to sit there and say, we're going to close the doors and you guys aren't leaving until we get X amount of dollars, that's not scriptural. I haven't read anything in the word that says that. Now, if you guys find that scripture, please send it to me. But he was out of line. He was not in line with God. God is going to tell you what you need to give. God is going to let you know what your finances are that you need to give. It's not going to be one preacher anywhere that's going to tell you you can't leave until y'all make this X amount of money for whatever he had to do with it. That's off-putting to the church. It's an embarrassment to the church. And he needs to sit down and reevaluate what he needs to do with his Christian life. He needs to sit down and stop recording a song, stop touring, stop doing anything until he reevaluates what he's supposed to be giving out to the people of God. This is not his people. These are God's people. So Marvin, you were incorrect. You were totally wrong. I don't care what kind of excuse statement that you had your publicist write, but you will not be getting another record play from me until you give a wholehearted apology. Not saying I'm holding a grudge, because I forgive you. I understand you're human. We all make mistakes, but I will not support anything that you have, that you do, that you're a part of, until you can give a wholehearted, humble apology. That's a shame. And I think everyone that's in that church should walk out that church and never come back. And then you'll see what $40,000 you get.